You knew it had to come. Folks, we're talking about Dream Catalogue today. The Dream Catalogue video. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time. And most of you probably know who Dream Catalogue is already. I really don't have to explain it. But for those who don't, when you look through the history of Vaporwave and the music that has been created leading us to where we are today in the scene, nobody can leave out the inclusion of how important UK-based electronic music label Dream Catalogue was and is, and how their ever-changing dynamic has had such an influence on music producers and fans in the scene ever since its inception in 2014. They're a constant reminder that sound does not need to stay bottled up in one specific style, despite how much success is coming out of that sound in a current meta of what fans are craving. And you've heard me say this before, this is something I talk about all the time on this channel, the courage to evolve and challenge your own musical palette, whether you are a producer or run a label, a challenge that has you taking a step back from what fans expect from you and going down a completely different route to stay true to your curiosity as a creative individual. Dream Catalogue was created by HKE, formerly known as Hong Kong Express, back in 2014, and when looking back at those times, many remember them for putting out classic after classic on that OG Dream Catalogue Bandcamp. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, that old Dream Catalogue logo? That thing was pretty fresh. Most remember them for holding the incredible stretch of Telepath releases in the mid-2010s, as well as the blockbuster duo of HKE and Telepath, known as 2814. But something I've noticed about Vaporwave fans is that they seem to recall Dream Catalogue as truly being this like major Vaporwave label that was pushing out Vaporwave for years and years or something. And being someone who only got involved in the scene around like late 2016, I think that's when I really discovered Vaporwave, it's not hard to see that going back on their previous releases, they weren't really a set in stone Vaporwave label for that long. If anything, only for about a year and a half or 2 years at most, until they really started transitioning into a different collective as a whole. Yes, they made an incredible impact on Vaporwave for their time spent in the sound while they were here, don't get me wrong, but I find it really unfortunate, especially for the current artists on the label who are working hard at what they do, that the discussion revolving around Dream Catalogue is usually about when are y'all gonna release, re-release that Telepath album on cassette, instead of giving their current lineup a chance to see what they have to offer. And HKE, he could have milked, and still milk if he chooses to, what he had in 2014 and 2015 to the ground. Vaporwave fans love that sound, they still love it, they still crave it, the mystique, the aesthetic the label held, everything about it. But after about 2-ish years after the birth of DC, we start to see a shift from the label's focus on just Vaporwave to something more open-ended, a platform that's allowing those who are part of the label to experiment with anything they seem interested in. From, we got experimental beat design on there, to conventional dubstep, radioactive dream punk, to romantic ambient and drone adventures, and so much more. There's a ton of shit on Dream Catalogue. And this was a change that some fans welcomed in, and they stayed on board with, but others were definitely dismissive about it and just wanted that old Vaporwave sound again. Dream Catalogue has ultimately become this shape-shifting arena of organic and synthetic production styles, and today I want to focus on that, the music and the music only. You and I are going to be taking a deeper look at a couple of the releases from the current residents, as they are called, on Dream Catalogue, and what they sound like today. In regards to physicals, the label has pretty much moved on from being cassette heavy and has really been focusing mainly, at least recently, on pushing vinyl and soon CD. So we're going to take a look at a bunch of these records as well. I'll give you my thoughts on them, the good and the bad, towards the end of this video, so make sure you stick around for the entire thing. If you love exploring fascinating music, and if this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you throw a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn all notifications on so you never miss a future upload. All of that helps out the channel tremendously, and I cannot wait to have you back for my next video. Also, let me know in the comments below of any other labels you'd want me to explore for a video. I would love to see what else is out there to be discovered. First at bat, we got Moscow-based producer Pixel Lord and his 2018 release of Hypnorave. Hell-bent on retexturizing the normalities in contemporary dance music, Hypnorave smashes like pots and pans. Pixel Lord gives a great showcase of industrial rave music with these big boomy drums, pounding trance harps and synthesizers, and it's all smothered in this abrasive and mechanic just like everything just feels like it's rough. If I were to rub my hands over it, I'm gonna get some damn cuts on these palms. Some stellar production behind it all. Hypnorave floats through moments of euphoria and then warfare. The drops in the middle of songs, if you want to call them drops, are surprising in their nature. Don't expect like repeating snare rolls building up to the drop in these tracks like other club bangers out there. On the battlefield of Hypnorave, any corner you may turn at all, can result in the sound of like two robots exploding in combat with one another. Like I said, at one moment euphoria, the next all hell breaks loose. Hypnorave is imaginative, it's bold, and most importantly, it's attention grabbing. Pixelord has put an impressive effort towards destroying the common thing to do for club or rave hits. As you can see here, Hypnorave comes on this triumphant red vinyl, really fitting for the aggression and ferocity the tracks of the album give off. And I love this album cover too, this focal lens effect that has the outer boundaries of the art giving off this 3D effect. It's kind of disorienting when you look at it for a bit, but it makes the layout of this thing just buzz like the music itself. If the world was ever getting taken over by artificial intelligence, Hypnorave would be their marching music. Shima33's Museum is one of my favorite Dream Catalogue releases in recent years. For fans of blissful drone and ambient, this is one you definitely do not want to sleep on. The album was created to awaken, relax, and take the listener on a journey of emotion all at the same time. Shima33 explores so many different ways of taking you on that trip, from piano melodies ripped straight out of your most amazing dreams to these stretches of spa-sizzling habitats and abodes. The story of this album is that of a suicidal man who sends messages to his fictional friend, Boda. Because of this man's strong belief, Boda is given reality and leads the man through his museum of emotions and into salvation. This is a personal tale of depression, renewal through belief, and resurrection. Museum is built up of 8 tracks known as expressions, each with a different attitude and place in time along the journey of this ascension. The album is experienced best when listened straight through, fully in one sitting. It almost plays out like this movie, and it's so expansive. I know I always love, the music I talk about, but this one's truly special. I would not sleep on this if I were you. The album is brought to life perfectly on this blank white slate of a vinyl. It really brings to life this narrative in my head of some dude who knows the answers to everything in life sitting in a white void at a white piano with a white suit on. It's all very animated for an album whose underbelly is nothing more than an ambient soundscape. Also, real quick note, I recommend you check out his latest album as well, Strings for Catherine. It is this beautiful piece of music I got a chance to talk to him about and how he created it. He states that what separates this album from anything else he's ever made is that he felt he didn't have to impress anyone with it, which I think is a really interesting take, as he made it for his wife, which is really cool. So his mindset for the production was totally different, and it's something sincerely sentimental that I find really inviting to listen to. Googolplex Bio Network. You may remember this album in a video I made quite a while back that explores the sound style of utopian virtual. I'll link that in the description if you want to see more about what that whole world is about. But for now, I gotta say, it's so nice. Dream Catalogue, it's so nice that I can hold this 2014 gem of a release in my hands, baby. This is great. The virtual rainforest of Googolplex Bio Network has it all. Subtle vapor trap, slushy sweeps, and good old computer intoxicating MIDI instrumentation. The album is great at portraying the scenery of the album cover. Trust me, if you've never heard anything off of this album before, I want you to take a look at this album cover. Alright, what do you think? What do you think this picture sounds like? You're probably very close, so just go check it out. Googolplex Bio Network is sprouted onto this mesmerizing green marble vinyl. This is one of those records that looks super subtle at first glance, but when it is held against a variable of light, it absolutely explodes into this beautiful display of what I picture the process of photosynthesis to look like if you could actually see it happening. Because of this, the record itself really feels like an object that displays a hologram or something, some crazy device of next level technology I can't understand, and it is wonderful to finally be able to add this thing into the collection. Like I said earlier, I go really in depth about this album in that Utopian virtual video, so if you want to see more of that, as well as similar albums to this style, go check that video out. Link is in the description below. Charming Devil. Charming Devil was the first HKE album on Dream Catalogue in over 3 years at the point of its release in 2018. Escaping the glass box he created for the HKE name with the albums like 2047 and HK, Dream Punk Trips and Magical Electronic Joyrides of the past Yeah, they're just not here on Charming Devil. Instead, HKE spent his time creating something more grinding, abrasive, and expressive, and just showcasing what he was going through at the time during this production. Charming Devil is bound together with varying levels of digital distortion, resounding drums, live instrumentation, and vocals as well. HKE releasing some muffled and moody vocals as if he's sitting in a corner of a room trying to gather it all together until it erupts into these ventures down 808 alleyways and crushingly hard beats. Look, like I said in the past, Kanye and HKE, y'all gotta do a collab one day. The album treats these varying styles as a split. The first part of the album features more of the organic work and live instrumentation from HKE, while the second half is bled out in the form of just straight up heavier electronic production. It's really the best way to put it. Album's definitely not for everyone, especially if you missed those HKE releases of the past. It feels more like a piece of spoken word in a way than music. Definitely don't go into this thing expecting what you know from past HKE releases. Like I said, it is completely different. Andrew Rice putting it really well in the review he made for this album by stating, "But through all of these mood shifts and dour moments, Russo's skill for melody comes to the surface, revealing a new side to an already multifaceted artist." According to Dream Catalogue, the root of the cover artwork was provided by Steel Diamonds within the hours that HKE decided to release this album. The artwork itself is in collaboration with HKE as well, who decided to throw a red filter across the whole thing after the artwork was completed. The vinyl is also treated with this sick red marble effect, a swirly massacre of colors that looks pretty damn awesome when this thing spins. Technology brought to life through sound. Chesu Masuda's 2016 release of I Am Chesu Masuda is another Dream Catalogue release around the initial transition into the label's post-Vaporwave era that focuses on long stretches of subtle, futuristic atmospheres of sound blended with moments of loud gargantuan blasts of aggression, all leading up to its almost 10-minute long conclusion track of And Now I Am Like You, which sort of revisits every attribute the album had throughout its runtime in one big grand finale. Acidic arpeggios and a female narrator like a sort of Halo's Cortana or something. I Am Chesu Masuda is an interplanetary space flight, music conjuring up these mental images of incomprehensible builds of giant spaceships circulating this timeline we find ourselves imagining while listening to the album. I love the colorful neon artwork that goes with this thing, and while the bubblegum pink vinyl does look great, I feel if DC could have matched more of that rich violet or real neon pink with this thing, it would just pair together a little bit better. Although on its own, I do love me some pink, bubblegum vinyl, so it's cool, it's cool. Another one of my current favorites on the Dream Catalogue lineup, Halo Acid's 2018 Body Dares. Perfect blend of industrial madness and UK garage with some undertones of sweet, feel-good synths. Pete Tabor summing it up perfectly in his review, stating, "The melodic elements nod to Vaporwave without relying on kitsch or retro nostalgia for appeal." I'll link that review in the description below as well, it's a pretty great read. Body Dares is a bully of sound, gut-punching, crunchy, and distorted fun, swiping the lunch money right out of your hand. Every sound is given its time to shine on this thing, so you really get to soak in every layer of instrumentation Halo Acid conjures up for you. Every measure mixed in a bloodthirsty, selfish fashion where specific sounds who want to be heard get all the attention by pushing every other instrumental into the background when it demands your focus, whether it's that drum and bass percussion on Pleasure Hotline 19 or those thunderous claps bringing all the heat on track 7, We Dream in Music. Body Dares is full of life. Every track is unique, and it is definitely one of my favorite releases, like I said, in the DC arsenal. The tracks work wonderfully on vinyl, and this is definitely one of the best records I've ever gotten from them. Body Dares comes through on this glorious black-green swirled marble vinyl. This is some killer work here. So check this out if you're looking for some industrial beats that are sweet and salty at the same time. Remember, easily my favorite artist on the roster of Dream Catalogue, and I don't want y'all to dismiss everything else I've discussed today or any of the artists I discussed. Trust me, there's some amazing talent right now on Dream Catalogue, there really is, but for me personally, Remember finds a way to pull at the chords of my heart so well with his music, a producer with such an amazing grip on blending moods through atmospheric sound design. At one moment, he's mellow and inspiring, the next depressingly apocalyptic, and that contrast, it just works so well with how he moves his music through the minutes of every track. So much character in everything he does. He's like an author with his music, giving it direction and movement whenever he wants, progressing a story through sound itself. And seeing his 2015 classic Route Back Home, which is what I believe it's translated to, get pressed on this unforgiving Twilight Blue double LP, I absolutely love it. I love it. I had to save the best for last. I've talked about Remember in the past. His 2018 release of The City Is My Friend is one of the greatest releases I've ever discovered on Bandcamp, easily. And Route Back Home is just another stellar release of his 2 press onto vinyl especially. I believe this album has always represented what Dream Catalogue has been through over its lifespan wonderfully. It has traces of the old Telepath heavy days while still aging wonderfully into the current meta of the Dream Catalogue sound that focuses on that cyberpunk and dream punk landscapes. The blue color used for this pressing is so unique, it's dull yet dreamy at the same time, and it's such a cool gatefold to have in the collection. If you are looking for some double LPs, this is the one you gotta scoop up. Okay, so the vinyl itself. I want to talk about Dream Catalogue vinyl itself and what I think of it quality-wise. Dream Catalogue has always gotten mixed reception on its vinyl, and I believe the best thing to do here is talk obviously personally from my experience and what I've gotten from them before and what I have here now. My original, and I've said this forever and I will continue to say this until something really blows it out of the water, which I don't know how. My original Vapor Manipool pressing from Dream Catalogue they did years ago is still probably the best sounding record I own. Straight up, best sounding record in my entire collection. Fast forward a couple years later and I pick up Birth of a New Day repress, one of the most sought after re-releases the label has ever put out. And I'll be honest, it was pretty shitty, I'm not gonna lie. For an album that could have been mastered for vinyl in such an extraordinary way, you know, if they just went back into everything, I don't know, maybe they don't have the original masters and all the stems, I don't know. But if they went back into that thing and just gave it a unique master for vinyl and just really bring out the lows and make it really, really, really grand, that thing could have been incredible, you know? So there is this super big just like spectrum of what I came to expect with Dream Catalogue records, you know, Manipool, crazy good, and then all the way the other side, like Birth of a New Day, kind of you know. So when I got all of these records in the mail, I really didn't know what to expect at all. For what I have here though, and what I'm judging today, all of these new records on the current lineup of Dream Catalogue, the sound itself is definitely solid, and that's always the most important thing. Really good job on that end, DC. The records do sound pretty great. I have no major issues with them as of now. And like I said, I just got this, you know, I just got all these, and there's quite a lot. So I really only got to listen to each album once, maybe twice at most. But they do sound pretty good. Another good thing about the records is the colors of the vinyl themselves. They're super rich, full of life, and I think for the most part they do a great job at translating the narrative of the music into something you can hold in your own hands. It's pretty beautiful. One of the negatives though I pulled from these is through the artwork quality. Most of them are still pretty blurry. I know Hypnorave looks pretty dope and pretty crisp, but some of the others, like Googolplex Bio Network, it looks cruddy. I'm not sure if they just don't have the access to the original artwork files, and they're like just dragging and dropping, you know, 1200 by 1200 Bandcamp artwork. I could be totally wrong, but it just doesn't seem like there's high-res artwork here. So yeah, it's a bit pixely at times. Also, another thing, the plastic sleeves they came in, I don't know if this was me, maybe just me specifically, but goddamn Dream Catalogue, like, whatever adhesive you guys use, it's super, super tough. Like, it is very hard to open them. And the problem with that is I'm finding that when I'm putting the records back into those plastic sleeves or, you know, taking the vinyl out, it can kind of get stuck on the adhesive. So that's just another little negative. But it's not a big deal though. I'm just going to place them all in a couple extra plastic sleeves when I order a whole new batch of those. And the most important thing always is the sound, you know, the sound quality, which on here sounds great. And the vinyl looks pretty beautiful, so overall, I really dig what you got. I love the direction. Personally, I do. I really love the direction the DC sound is going towards. It's really a unique and fresh breath of air. And another thing I've noticed too, what I really like, is the artists really seem to be doing what they love and bringing their desires, passion, and taste with no restrictions to the table. It really seems like they don't have to live up to anything, or they have to do some sort of sound that people expect them to do. So it's really great to see artists really have some freedom with this thing, and I just feel like they don't really worry about what people think. It's kind of cool. So just a good job to everyone involved with these pressings, and Dream Catalogue, thanks for sending them to me. What are your thoughts on the label's current sound and direction? Let me know in the comments below, as well as any other labels you'd want me to explore in a future video. You know, I'm gonna take a look at all the comments, so let me know what's up. Also, really quick, if you want some really cool rewards and exclusive benefits, you can head on over to my Patreon page. It really helps support the channel, especially during these tough times with all this stuff going on in the world right now. I really want to try and build that up, so there's a bunch of cool rewards over there. I highly recommend you go check it out. And if not, all good, like I always say. You just coming to watch my videos is absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. And until next time, keep it real, keep on listening to music, wash your hands, please, and stay indoors. Do the right thing. I love you. Much love. Your boy, Pat Chennington.